The camera blinked in the corner of her room. A cold, unfeeling eye. Riley Harper, 25, stood frozen, her heart pounding as she realized her father, billionaire tech mogul Victor Harper, had crossed a line no parent should. She'd always known he was controlling, but this was a violation that cut deeper than any of his lectures about her choices. Riley's life had been a tightrope walk between her truth and her father's expectations. Growing up in a Manhattan penthouse, she'd been groomed to inherit HarperTech, her father's empire of surveillance and security systems. But Riley wasn't the polished heiress Victor wanted. She was a painter, a dreamer, and, most unforgivably to him, a lesbian. Her relationship with Mia Chun, a 24-year-old barista and aspiring poet, had been her sanctuary, a secret she guarded fiercely. Until now, the discovery came on a rainy October evening. Riley had been rearranging her room in their cozy Brooklyn apartment when she noticed a faint red light behind her bookshelf. Her stomach churned as she traced the wire to a tiny, state-of-the-art camera, HarperTech's latest model, the kind her father bragged could see through walls. She ripped it from its hiding spot, her hands trembling. How long had it been there? Had he seen her with Mia, their late-night talks, their kisses? The thought made her skin crawl. Riley's phone buzzed. A text from Victor. Come to the penthouse. Now, no explanation, just the command. She shoved the camera into her bag, her mind racing. She wasn't just angry. She was terrified. Victor Harper didn't just react. He orchestrated. Whatever he wanted, it wasn't a simple apology. Mia was still at the coffee shop, working the late shift. Riley shot her a quick text. Found a camera in my room. Dad's work. Meeting him now. I'll call you after. She didn't wait for a reply. She grabbed her jacket and headed into the storm, the city's neon lights blurring through the rain. The elevator to the penthouse felt like a cage. Victor stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, his silhouette sharp against the Manhattan skyline. At 60, he was still imposing, his gray hair slicked back, his eyes cold as steel. You've been reckless, Riley, he said without turning. I gave you everything, and you choose her. Riley's voice shook but held firm. You put a camera in my room. You spied on me. On us. She pulled the device from her bag and slammed it on the table. How dare you? Victor turned, unfazed. I protect what's mine. Mia Chun is a distraction. She's nothing, a barista with no future. You're a Harper. You don't get to throw that away. Riley's chest tightened. She'd heard this before, his disdain for Mia, his obsession with legacy. But the camera was new, a betrayal that burned. What did you see? She demanded. What do you know? Victor's lips curled into a faint smile. Enough to know you're planning to run off with her, to throw away your inheritance, your future, for some fleeting romance. He stepped closer, his voice dropping. But I'm giving you a chance to fix this. Marry someone worthy. Tomorrow. Riley laughed, bitter and sharp. Marry? You think you can dictate my life like one of your contracts? Not dictate, Victor said, sliding a folder across the table. Incentivize. Inside were documents, legal agreements tying her inheritance to a marriage, but not to Mia. To a man. Specifically, Ethan Caldwell, the 30-year-old heir to a rival tech dynasty. Victor had arranged it all. A merger of empires sealed by a wedding. Riley's vision blurred with rage. You're insane. I'm not marrying some stranger to appease you. Then you lose everything, Victor said, his voice like ice. Your trust fund, your shares in HarperTech, your home. And Mia? She'll be out of a job, out of a life. I can make that happen. The threat hung heavy in the air. Riley's mind spun. Mia wasn't just her girlfriend. She was her home, her muse, the one person who saw her for who she was, not who she was supposed to be. But Victor's reach was long, his power absolute. She'd seen him ruin competitors, silence critics. He could destroy Mia's life with a phone call. I need time, Riley said, her voice barely above a whisper. You have until tomorrow, Victor replied. The wedding is set. Ethan's already agreed. Riley stumbled out of the penthouse, the city's hum drowned out by her thoughts. She needed to warn her, to plan. But as she stepped into the rain, her phone lit up with another text from Victor. Don't tell her. I'll know if you do. The camera wasn't the only one watching. Riley's heart raced as she hailed a cab, her mind a storm of fear and defiance. She wouldn't let her father win, not like this. But how could she fight a man who controlled everything? Mia deserved to know the truth, but telling her could cost them both everything. As the cab sped toward Brooklyn, Riley clutched the camera, its cold metal a reminder of the battle ahead. She wasn't just fighting for love. She was fighting for her life. The cab's tires hissed on the wet Brooklyn streets as Riley's mind churned. She wanted to call Mia, to hear her voice, to confess everything. But Victor's warning echoed. I'll know if you do. Her father's surveillance empire wasn't just cameras. It was a web of control, and Riley was caught in it. She gripped the ruined camera in her pocket, its jagged edges a small rebellion against his power. Mia's coffee shop, the grind, glowed like a beacon through the rain. Riley pushed through the door, the bell jingling softly. Mia stood behind the counter, her long black hair tied back, her apron dusted with flour. At 24, she had a quiet strength that made Riley's heart ache. Their eyes met, and Mia's smile faltered, sensing something was wrong. Riley, you okay? Mia asked, wiping her hands on a towel. The shop was nearly empty, save for a lone customer hunched over a laptop. Riley forced a nod, her throat tight. Can we talk? Somewhere private. Mia glanced at her manager, who waved her off. They slipped into the back room, a cramped space smelling of coffee beans and cardboard. Riley shut the door, her hands shaking. She wanted to tell Mia everything. The camera, her father's ultimatum, the wedding, but the words wouldn't come. Victor's threat loomed too large. Instead, she pulled Mia close, burying her face in her girlfriend's shoulder. I just needed to see you, Riley whispered. Mia's arms wrapped around her, warm and steady. What's going on? Mia's voice was soft but firm. You're scaring me. Riley pulled back, searching Mia's dark eyes. She couldn't lie, but she couldn't tell the full truth either. My dad, he's trying to control me again. He found out about us. Mia's face hardened. How? We've been so careful. Riley hesitated, the camera burning a hole in her pocket. He just knows things. He's pushing me to do something I don't want. Something big. Mia's brow furrowed. Like what? Riley, talk to me. But Riley couldn't. Not yet. I'll figure it out, she said, her voice breaking. I just need you to trust me. Mia studied her, worry etched into her features. I do. But you're not alone in this. Whatever he's doing, we face it together. Riley nodded, but guilt gnawed at her. Mia deserved better than half-truths. They kissed, a desperate, fleeting moment, before Mia had to return to the counter. Riley left the shop, the rain colder now, her resolve hardening. She wouldn't let Victor destroy them. Back in their apartment, Riley paced. The camera sat on the table, a silent accusation. She needed a plan, but first, she needed to know how deep her father's surveillance went. She grabbed her laptop and started digging into HarperTech's systems, using the backdoors she'd learned as a teenager. Victor had taught her to code before she could drive, never expecting she'd use it against him. Hours later, she found it. A hidden server log tracking her phone, her emails, even her location. Victor wasn't just watching her room, he was watching her life. But there was something else. A file labeled Caldwell Merger. It detailed the marriage arrangement with Ethan Caldwell, complete with timelines, contracts, and a chilling note. Neutralize Mia Chun if non-compliant. Riley's blood ran cold. Neutralize. The word was vague but sinister, a reminder of Victor's ruthlessness. She had to protect Mia. But how? Confronting Victor directly was a losing game. She needed leverage, something to turn the tables. Her phone buzzed. Mia, texting from her break. You sure you're okay? I'm worried. Riley's fingers hovered over the keyboard. She wanted to tell Mia everything, but Victor's surveillance was too tight. Instead, she typed, I'm handling it. I love you. The next morning, Riley woke to a knock at the door. A courier handed her a sleek black box with a note in Victor's handwriting. Wear this tonight, 7 p.m. The plaza. Inside was a white gown, elegant and cold, like a wedding dress for a funeral. Her stomach twisted. Victor was serious, the wedding was happening. Riley called Mia, who was already at the shop. I need you to meet me tonight, she said, keeping her voice steady. Somewhere public. Times Square, 6 p.m. Mia hesitated. What's happening, Riley? Just trust me, Riley said, hating herself for the secrecy. I'll explain everything. She hung up, her heart pounding. She had one day to outmaneuver her father, to save Mia and their future. The gown stared at her from the box, a symbol of everything she refused to become. Riley grabbed her laptop again, diving deeper into HarperTech's servers. If Victor was watching her, she'd watch him back. Riley's fingers flew across the keyboard, her eyes burning from hours of staring at code. HarperTech's servers were a fortress, but she knew their weak points, gaps Victor assumed she'd never exploit. By noon, she'd uncovered a trove of encrypted emails between her father and Ethan Caldwell's team. The merger wasn't just a business deal. It was a power play to dominate the tech industry, with Riley as the pawn. One email made her pause. Riley's compliance is non-negotiable. If she resists, proceed with Plan B. Plan B. The phrase sent a shiver down her spine. She cross-referenced it with the Caldwell merger file and found a subfolder labeled Contingency. Inside were dossiers on Mia, her work schedule, her family's address in Queens, even her student loan debt. Victor wasn't just threatening Mia's job. He was prepared to dismantle her life. Riley slammed her laptop shut, her breath ragged. She needed help, someone outside Victor's reach. Her thoughts turned to Lena, her old college roommate and a cybersecurity prodigy who'd once hacked a rival company's database for a class project. Lena was 26, fiercely independent, and owed Riley a favor. Riley shot her a text. Need your brain. Urgent. Can you meet me in an hour? Lena replied instantly. Name the place. They agreed on a crowded diner in Midtown, far from Victor's cameras. The diner smelled of grease and coffee, its booths packed with tourists and locals. Lena slid into the seat across from Riley, her short blonde hair tucked under a baseball cap. You look like hell, Lena said, her green eyes sharp. What's Victor done now? Riley slid the broken camera across the table. He's spying on me, on Mia, and he's trying to force me into a marriage to seal some corporate deal. Lena's jaw dropped as Riley explained, the camera, the ultimatum, the gown. When she mentioned Plan B, Lena's expression darkened. Your dad's playing dirty. We need to hit back harder. Can you get into his system? Riley asked. Find something we can use? Lena grinned, cracking her knuckles. Give me a laptop and a few hours. Victor's not the only one who knows surveillance. They spent the next hour strategizing. Lena would dig for dirt, financial records, shady deals, anything to expose Victor's vulnerabilities. Riley would meet Mia in Times Square and come clean, no matter the risk. She couldn't keep lying, not when Mia's safety was on the line. As the clock ticked towards 6 p.m., Riley headed to Times Square. The neon lights buzzed, crowds swirling around her. Mia was waiting near the red bleachers, her face pale under the glowing billboards. Riley, what's going on? She asked, her voice trembling. You're scaring me. Riley took a deep breath, her heart pounding. My dad put a camera in our apartment. He's been watching us. He knows about you, about us, and he's trying to force me to marry someone else. Some guy named Ethan Caldwell, to secure his company. Mia's eyes widened, hurt flashing across her face. You knew about this and didn't tell me? I wanted to protect you, Riley said, her voice cracking. He threatened you, Mia. Your job, your life. I didn't know what to do. Mia stepped back, her arms crossed. So you lied instead? Riley, we're supposed to be a team. I know, Riley whispered, tears stinging her eyes. I'm sorry, but I'm fighting him. I'm not marrying Ethan. I'm not giving us up. Mia's expression softened, but the hurt lingered. What's his plan? What does he want? He wants control, Riley said. But I'm working with someone to stop him. We just need time. Mia nodded slowly, her hand reaching for Riley's. Okay, but no more secrets. Promise me. I promise, Riley said, squeezing her hand. The weight of the lie lifted, but the danger remained. Her phone buzzed. Lena. Found something big. Meet me at my place ASAP. Riley glanced at Mia. Come with me. We're doing this together. They took the subway to Lena's apartment in Hell's Kitchen, a cluttered space filled with monitors and energy drink cans. Lena was already typing furiously. Your dad's been naughty, she said without looking up. He's funneling money through offshore accounts to dodge taxes. If this gets out, Harpertech's stock tanks. Riley's pulse raced. Can we prove it? Working on it, Lena said. But there's more. He's got a meeting tonight with Ethan Caldwell's father at the plaza. That's where your wedding's supposed to happen. Riley's stomach dropped. The gown, the ultimatum, it was all happening now. She looked at Mia, whose jaw was set with determination. We're crashing that meeting, Mia said. Let's end this. The plaza's grandeur loomed as Riley and Mia stepped out of the cab, the rain now a faint drizzle. The hotel's golden lights reflected off the wet pavement, a stark contrast to the storm in Riley's chest. She wore jeans and a leather jacket, the white gown left behind, a silent rejection of Victor's plan. Mia, in a hoodie and boots, gripped Riley's hand, her eyes fierce. They were walking into a lion's den, but together, they felt unstoppable. Lena had sent Riley a file, a single email from Victor to Ethan Caldwell's father, Richard, outlining a plan to secure Riley's cooperation through leverage on Mia Chun. It wasn't enough to bury Victor, but it was a start. Lena was still digging, promising more by morning. For now, Riley and Mia had to confront the meeting head-on. The plaza's ballroom was a sea of crystal chandeliers and polished suits. Riley spotted Victor near the stage, deep in conversation with Richard Caldwell, a silver-haired man with a shark smile. Ethan stood nearby, 30, handsome in a calculated way, his eyes scanning the room like he owned it. Riley's stomach twisted. This was the man her father wanted her to marry. Ready, Mia whispered, her voice steady despite the tension. Riley nodded, squeezing her hand. Let's do this. They slipped through the crowd, blending with waitstaff and guests. Riley's heart pounded as they neared Victor. He turned, his eyes narrowing when he saw her. Riley, he said, his voice low and dangerous. You're late and underdressed. I'm not here for your wedding, Riley said, her voice carrying over the hum of the room. I'm here to tell you it's over. You don't control me anymore. Richard Caldwell raised an eyebrow, glancing at Victor. Is this your daughter? She's spirited. Victor's jaw tightened. Riley, this isn't the place. No, it's perfect, Riley shot back. She pulled out her phone, the email from Lena already open. You've been spying on me, threatening Mia, and now you're trying to sell me off to seal a deal. I have proof. The room quieted, heads turning. Victor's face reddened, but he kept his composure. You're making a scene, Riley. Let's discuss this privately. No, Mia said, stepping forward. You don't get to hide this. You put a camera in our home. You tried to ruin my life because I love your daughter. That's not business, that's cruelty. Ethan Caldwell stepped closer, his expression unreadable. Is this true, Victor? You said Riley was on board. Victor's eyes darted between them, calculating. She's confused. Emotional. She'll come around. I'm not confused, Riley said, her voice rising. I love Mia. I'm not marrying Ethan. And I'm done letting you manipulate me. The crowd murmured, phones discreetly recording. Victor's control was slipping, and he knew it. You're throwing away your future, he hissed. And hers. Mia's hand tightened on Riley's. Our future's ours to choose. Richard Caldwell cleared his throat, sensing the shift. Victor, perhaps we should reconsider the terms. This arrangement seems unstable. Victor's face twisted with fury, but before he could respond, security approached, alerted by the growing tension. Riley seized the moment. "We're leaving," she said, pulling Mia toward the exit. But as they reached the doors, Ethan caught up. "Wait," he said, his voice low. "I didn't know about the camera. Or the threats. I thought this was a mutual deal." He glanced at Victor, then back at Riley. "If you've got proof, use it. I don't want any part of this if it's built on lies." Riley studied him, surprised by the sincerity in his eyes. "Why should I trust you?" "You shouldn't," Ethan said. "But I know what it's like to be a pawn in my father's game. If you're fighting back, I can help." Mia frowned. "Help how?" "I know where Victor keeps his real secrets," Ethan said. "His office. There's a safe, documents, drives, things he doesn't want anyone to see. I can get you in." Riley hesitated. Could be a trap, but Ethan's offer was a lifeline. "Why would you do this?" Ethan shrugged, a flicker of defiance in his eyes. "Maybe I'm tired of being controlled too." Riley exchanged a look with Mia, who nodded slightly. They had no choice but to take the risk. "Okay," Riley said, "but we do this our way." As they left the plaza, the city's pulse felt alive with possibility. Victor's empire was cracking, and Riley had allies she hadn't expected. But the night wasn't over, and neither was the fight. The city hummed as Riley, Mia, and Ethan slipped into a cab, the tension between them thick but laced with a shared purpose. Ethan's offer to access Victor's safe was a gamble, but Riley felt the tide turning. She glanced at Mia, whose jaw was set, her eyes reflecting the neon lights outside. They were in this together, no matter the cost. Ethan directed the driver to Hartbreak's headquarters, a sleek glass tower in Lower Manhattan. "Victor's office is on the top floor," he said, his voice low. "The safe's behind a false panel in his desk. I've seen him open it once, biometric lock, his fingerprint." Riley's mind raced. "How do we get in?" "That place is a fortress." Ethan smirked. "I'm a Caldwell. My name opens doors, even in your dad's building." Mia leaned forward, skeptical. "And what's in it for you? Why betray your own father?" Ethan's smirk faded. "My dad's no saint. He and Victor are cut from the same cloth, control freaks who think they can buy loyalty. I'm done being their chess piece." Riley wasn't sure she trusted him, but his anger felt real. She texted Lena, "Heading to Hartbreak with Ethan Caldwell. Need you to disable security cams." Lena's reply was instant. "On it. Give me 20 minutes." The cab dropped them at the tower's entrance, its steel and glass facade looming like Victor's ambition. Ethan flashed his ID at the security desk, spinning a story about a late-night meeting. The guard, used to seeing high-profile names, waved them through. Riley's pulse quickened as they rode the elevator to the 40th floor, the city shrinking below. Victor's office was a shrine to power. Mahogany desk, floor-to-ceiling windows, a single framed photo of Riley as a child, her smile forced. She pushed the memory aside and focused on the desk. Ethan pointed to a panel beneath the drawer. "There. The safe needs his fingerprint." Mia frowned. "And how do we fake that?" "We don't," Riley said, pulling a small device from her bag. A prototype scanner she'd swiped from Hartbreak years ago. "Dad showed me how to bypass his locks when I was a kid. Thought it'd make me a better heir." The irony wasn't lost on her. She pressed the scanner to the panel, its screen flickering as it mimicked Victor's print. The safe clicked open, revealing a stack of drives and a leather-bound ledger. Riley grabbed them, her hands steady despite her racing heart. "This better be worth it," she muttered. Mia kept watch at the door while Ethan skimmed the ledger. "Offshore accounts, shell companies," he said, his voice tight. "Victor's been laundering money for years. This could ruin him." Riley plugged a drive into her laptop, Lena's hacking tools already loaded. Files flooded the screen, emails, contracts, even a memo about eliminating liabilities, with Mia's name highlighted. Riley's blood boiled. "He wasn't just threatening you," she told Mia. "He was planning to frame you for fraud if I didn't comply." Mia's face paled, but her voice was steel. "Then we take him down." Suddenly, the lights flickered. An alarm blared, sharp and relentless. Lena's text came through. Security's back online. Victor's been alerted. Get out now. Riley stuffed the drives and ledger into her bag, her heart pounding. We need to move. Ethan led them to a service elevator, but as the doors opened, 2 security guards blocked their path. Miss Harper, one said, his hand on a taser. Your father wants you upstairs. Now. Riley's mind raced. They were trapped, the evidence in her bag a ticking bomb. Mia stepped forward, her voice calm but commanding. You're not taking her anywhere. We're leaving. The guard hesitated, but Ethan intervened, his tone authoritative. Let them go. I'll handle Victor. The guards exchanged glances, unsure. Ethan's name carried weight, and it bought them seconds. Riley grabbed Mia's hand, and they bolted for the stairwell, the guards shouting behind them. 40 flights down, their footsteps echoed, the evidence heavy in Riley's bag. They burst into the street, rain-slicked and breathless. Mia pulled Riley into an alley, their chests heaving. What now? Mia asked, her eyes searching Riley's. We expose him, Riley said, clutching the bag. But first, we disappear. The alley's shadows cloaked Riley and Mia as they caught their breath. The city's pulse a distant roar. The bag of evidence, drives and ledger, felt like a grenade in Riley's hands, its secrets enough to topple Victor's empire. But they weren't safe yet. Harpertecha's security was on their tail, and Victor's reach stretched far beyond the tower. We need somewhere to hide, Mia said, her voice steady despite the chaos. Somewhere he can't find us. Riley nodded, her mind racing. Lena's place. She's off the grid, and she'll know how to handle this. She fired off a text. Got the evidence. Need a safe spot. Your place? Lena's reply was instant. Come now. Back door. They slipped through the rain-soaked streets, blending into the late-night crowds of Lower Manhattan. Lena's apartment in Hell's Kitchen was a fortress of tech, monitors, servers, and a lock system Victor himself couldn't crack. Lena let them in, her face grim. You two are in deep, she said, eyeing the bag. What did you find? Riley spilled the contents onto Lena's table, drives, ledger, and her laptop. Enough to bury him, she said. Money laundering, fraud, threats against Mia. It's all here. Lena whistled, scanning the ledger. This is dynamite, but Victor's already moving. My contacts say he's got people scouring the city for you. Mia's eyes narrowed. What about Ethan? Can we trust him? Riley hesitated. Ethan's help had gotten them this far, but his motives were murky. He's a wild card, she admitted, but he gave us a head start. We use what we have. Lena plugged the drives into her system, her fingers a blur. Files flashed across the screen, bank transfers, coded memos, even a contract tying Victor to a shady offshore firm. One document stood out. A plan to discredit Mia with fabricated charges, timed for the wedding's announcement. He's ruthless, Lena muttered, but sloppy. These files aren't even encrypted properly. Riley's stomach churned. Can we leak this? Get it to the press. Lena nodded. I know a journalist at the Times. She's fearless, hates guys like Victor. But we need to clean the data first. Make sure it's airtight. Mia paced, her hands clenched. How long will that take? He's not going to wait. Few hours, Lena said. But you two need to stay out of sight. Victor's got eyes everywhere. Riley's phone buzzed. A blocked number. She hesitated, then answered. Victor's voice was ice. Riley, you're making a mistake. Return what you stole and we can talk. You mean the proof you're a criminal? Riley snapped. I'm done with your games. You're not as clever as you think, Victor said. I know where you are. Hell's Kitchen, right? Lena's little hideout. Riley froze, her heart slamming against her ribs. She glanced at Lena, who was already checking her security feeds. He's bluffing? Lena whispered, but her voice wavered. Last chance, Victor said. Bring the evidence back, or Mia pays the price. The line went dead. Riley's hands shook as she set the phone down. He knows we're here. Lena cursed, pulling up a map of nearby cameras. He's hacked the city's traffic cams. We need to move. Mia grabbed Riley's arm. Where? He's got the whole city wired. There's a safe house in Brooklyn, Lena said. Old hacker spot, no tech, no trace. We can finish the leak from there. They packed the evidence and slipped out the back, the rain a curtain against the world. The safe house was a rundown brownstone, its walls lined with lead to block signals. Inside, Lena set up a burner laptop, working to compile the evidence into a damning package. Riley and Mia sat close, their hands intertwined. I'm sorry I dragged you into this, Riley whispered. Mia's eyes softened. You didn't drag me. I chose you. I'll always choose you. Riley kissed her, the world fading for a moment. But the clock was ticking. Victor was closing in, and the truth was their only weapon. The safe house smelled of dust and old wood, its dim light casting shadows across Riley and Mia's faces. Lena worked at a folding table, her burner laptop humming as she packaged Victor's secrets for the press. The drives and ledger sat beside her, a ticking bomb of truth. Riley's heart raced. Every creak of the brownstone felt like Victor's men closing in. We're almost there, Lena said, her voice tight. The journalist's ready to run the story, but we need to send it anonymously. Victor's got lawyers who'll bury us in lawsuits if we're not careful. Mia leaned against Riley, her warmth a lifeline. What happens after we leak it? Will it stop him? It'll hurt him, Lena said. His stock will crash. Regulators will swarm. But guys like Victor don't go down easy. He'll fight dirty. Riley's mind flashed to the camera in her room, the violation that started this. She squeezed Mia's hand. Whatever he does, we're not backing down. A soft thud came from the back door. Riley froze, her pulse spiking. Lena glanced at her security app, motion sensors tripped. Someone's here, she whispered, grabbing a taser from her bag. Riley pulled Mia behind a couch, her breath shallow. The door creaked open, and a figure stepped inside. Ethan Caldwell, his face pale, a bruise blooming on his jaw. It's me, he said, hands raised. Don't shoot. Mia glared. What the hell are you doing here? Ethan shut the door, his voice low. Victor's losing it. He knows you took the drives. He sent his security team after me when I wouldn't talk. I barely got out. Riley studied him, wary. How'd you find us? Lena's not as off-grid as she thinks, Ethan said, glancing at her. I've been tracking Victor's moves. He's got a team a block away, closing in. Lena cursed, checking her feeds. He's right. 3 SUVs, armed guys. We've got minutes. Riley's stomach dropped. Can we get the leak out before they hit? Lena's fingers flew across the keyboard. Sending now. Encrypted, routed through a dozen proxies. It's done. The journalist's confirmation pinged seconds later. Got it. Story goes live at midnight. Relief washed over Riley, but it was short-lived. Headlights flashed through the safe house's boarded windows, engines rumbling outside. We need to move, Ethan said. There's a back exit to the alley. Mia grabbed the drives, shoving them into her backpack. What about you? She asked Ethan. I'm with you, he said. Victor's after me now too. They slipped out the back, the rain cold against their skin. The alley was narrow, lined with trash cans and shadows. Footsteps echoed behind them. Victor's men, moving fast. Riley's heart pounded as they ducked behind a dumpster, holding their breath. Lena whispered, There's a subway entrance 2 blocks east. If we make it, we can lose them. They ran, the city a blur of wet concrete and neon. Gunshots cracked behind them, and Mia stumbled, her hand slipping from Riley's. Keep going, Mia gasped, scrambling to her feet. Riley pulled her up, her own fear drowned by the need to protect her. They reached the subway, blending into the late-night crowd. The train's rumble was a lifeline as they boarded, collapsing into seats. Ethan sat across from them, his face grim. Victor won't stop, he said. Not until he's exposed. Riley nodded, her hand still gripping Mia's. Then we make sure the world sees who he really is. As the train sped through the dark, Riley's phone buzzed. A news alert. The Times had broken the story early. HarperTech CEO linked to money laundering, coercion. Victor's face was plastered across the headline, his empire crumbling in real time. But the victory felt hollow. Victor was still out there, and his wrath would be merciless. Riley looked at Mia, her heart swelling with love and fear. The fight wasn't over, but they had the truth and each other. The subway's fluorescent lights buzzed as Riley, Mia, Ethan, and Lena huddled in the crowded car. The city's pulse a faint echo. The news alert on Riley's phone glowed. Victor's crimes were public, his empire teetering. But Riley knew her father, he'd lash out before he fell. She clutched Mia's hand, the weight of their fight heavier than ever. "We can't stay in the city," Lena said, her voice low. "Victor's got too many connections, cops, private security. We need to lay low until the feds move in." Ethan nodded, his bruise darkening under the harsh light. "There's a cabin upstate, my family's old place. No tech, no trace. We can hide there." Mia frowned. "And trust you? After everything?" Ethan met her gaze. "I'm risking as much as you. Victor's after me too. I didn't sign up for his dirty games." Riley hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, but we stick together. No surprises." They switched trains twice, doubling back to shake any tails. By dawn, they were on a bus to the Catskills, the city fading behind them. The cabin was a weathered A-frame nestled in pine trees, its isolation a stark contrast to Manhattan's chaos. Inside, it was bare, wooden floors, a stone fireplace, no Wi-Fi. Perfect. Lena set up her burner laptop, using a satellite hotspot to monitor the fallout. "The story's blowing up," she said, scrolling through headlines. "SEC's launching an investigation. Harpertech's stock is tanking. Victor's holed up in his penthouse, but he's not talking." Riley's chest tightened. "He's planning something. He always is." Mia sat close, her hand on Riley's knee. "What's his next move? If he's cornered, what does he do?" "He doubles down," Riley said. "He'll try to spin this, blame someone else. Or he'll come for us." Ethan stoked the fireplace, his face grim. "He'll come for the evidence first. Those drives, they're his death sentence." Riley pulled the drives from Mia's backpack, their weight heavier than their size suggested. "Then we keep them safe. And we keep moving." The day passed in tense quiet, the group poring over the files. Lena found more. Recordings of Victor bribing regulators, emails plotting to sabotage competitors. Each piece was a nail in his coffin, but Riley couldn't shake the feeling of being hunted. That night, as Mia slept beside her, Riley lay awake, the cabin's silence deafening. She thought of the camera in her room, the violation that sparked this war. She'd spent years hiding who she was to appease Victor, but loving Mia had set her free. She wouldn't lose that no matter what. A crack outside snapped her alert. She sat up, heart pounding. Ethan was already at the window, peering through the blinds. "Headlights," he whispered. "2 cars. Coming fast." Lena grabbed her taser, Mia stirred, and Riley clutched the drives. "They found us," Riley said, her voice steady despite the fear. "How?" Ethan's face darkened. "My phone. I thought I'd disabled it, but Victor must have tracked the signal." Mia glared at him. "You led them here?" "Not on purpose," Ethan snapped. "I'm not the enemy." "No time," Lena cut in. "There's a trail out back, leads to the river. We move now." They grabbed the essentials. Drives, ledger, laptop, and slipped into the woods, the cold biting their skin. Headlights swept the trees as Victor's men fanned out, their shouts carrying on the wind. Riley's legs burned as they ran, Mia's hand in hers, the drives a lifeline in her pocket. They reached the river, its current swift and dark. Lena pointed to a narrow bridge upstream. "Cross there. We can lose them in the next town." But as they moved, a flashlight beam pinned them. "Riley!" a voice barked. Victor's head of security, a man she'd known since childhood. "Stop, or we shoot." Riley froze, her heart in her throat. The drives could end this, but losing Mia would end her. She had one last play to make. The river roared beside them, its icy spray mingling with Riley's sweat as the flashlight beam held her in place. Victor's security chief, Marcus, stood 20 yards away, his gun glinting in the moonlight. Behind him, 3 more men fanned out, their shadows long and menacing. Riley's hand tightened around the drives, Mia's breath warm against her neck. "Hand over the evidence, Riley," Marcus called, his voice calm but edged with threat. "Your father just wants to talk." "Talk," Riley shouted back, her voice raw. "He put a camera in my room. He threatened Mia. He's done talking." Marcus stepped closer, his gun steady. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." Mia pressed against Riley, whispering, "What do we do?" Riley's eyes darted to Lena, who clutched her taser, and Ethan, whose face was unreadable. The bridge was their only escape, but it was exposed. They needed a diversion. "Lena," Riley hissed, "can you fry their comms?" Lena nodded, pulling a small device from her pocket, a signal jammer she'd built for emergencies. "It'll buy us 30 seconds, max." "Do it," Riley said. She turned to Ethan. "You're with us, or you're not. Choose now." Ethan met her gaze, his jaw tight. "I'm with you." Lena activated the jammer, and the men's radios crackled, their shouts of confusion echoing. "Go!" Riley yelled, pulling Mia toward the bridge. They sprinted, the wooden planks slick underfoot, the river churning below. Gunshots rang out, splintering wood near their feet. Ethan dove behind a tree, firing a warning shot from a pistol Riley hadn't known he carried. They reached the other side, ducking into the dense forest. Lena led, her phone's GPS guiding them toward a nearby town. The men's shouts faded, but Riley knew Marcus wouldn't stop. Victor never did. They stumbled into a gas station at the edge of town, its neon sign flickering. Lena hacked the payphone, calling her journalist contact. "The drives are safe," she said. "We're sending backups now. Run everything." Riley uploaded copies of the files to a secure server, her hands shaking. Mia stood watch, her eyes scanning the dark. Ethan leaned against the wall, his pistol tucked away. "They'll regroup," he said. "We need to keep moving." Mia's voice was quiet but firm. "Where?" "Victor's not going to stop." Riley's mind raced. The story was out, but Victor's influence ran deep. They needed protection, not just exposure. "We go public," she said. "Not just the files, us. Our story. He can't touch us if the world's watching." Mia's eyes widened. "You mean tell everyone? About us?" Riley nodded, her heart pounding. "It's the only way. He's banking on our silence. We take that away." Lena grinned. "I know a live stream platform, unhackable. We can broadcast from anywhere." They found a motel, its vacancy sign buzzing. Lena set up the live stream, routing it through encrypted channels. Riley and Mia sat before the laptop's webcam, the room's dim light casting soft shadows. Riley took Mia's hand, her voice steady despite the fear. "I'm Riley Harper," she began, the world watching. "My father, Victor Harper, spied on me and my girlfriend, Mia-chan, because he couldn't accept who I am. He tried to force me into a marriage to control me to save his empire. But we have proof, his crimes, his lies. And we're done hiding." Mia leaned in, her voice fierce. "We love each other. That's not a crime. What Victor did is." The live stream exploded, comments flooding in, support, outrage, demands for justice. By morning, the feds were raiding Harpertech's offices, Victor's assets frozen. But Riley knew he'd still come for them. As dawn broke, Ethan knocked on the door. "I've got a contact, a lawyer who takes on cases like this. She can protect you." Riley nodded, hope flickering. The fight wasn't over, but the world was on their side now. She kissed Mia, their love a defiance Victor couldn't break. The motel's neon glow faded as dawn painted the sky, but Riley couldn't rest. The live stream had gone viral. Their story, her and Mia's love, Victor's betrayal, igniting a firestorm. Social media buzzed with justice for Riley, and news vans swarmed Harpertech's headquarters. But Victor was still out there, a wounded predator biding his time. Ethan's lawyer contact, Sarah Nguyen, arrived by noon. A sharp-eyed woman in her 40s. She exuded calm authority. "You've got the world's attention," she said, reviewing the drives. "This evidence is ironclad. Victor's facing fraud, coercion, and wiretapping charges. But he's got lawyers too. You need to stay public, stay safe." Riley nodded, her hand in Mia's. "What's next?" "Testify," Sarah said. "The feds want your story, but it's risky. Victor's desperate. He might try to discredit you." Mia's eyes flashed. "Let him try. We're not hiding anymore." Lena, still monitoring the web, chimed in. "He's already spinning it. His PR team's claiming the files are fabricated, that you're a disgruntled heir." Riley's jaw tightened. "Then we prove it's real. All of it." Sarah arranged a meeting with federal prosecutors in a secure Manhattan office. Riley and Mia recounted everything: the camera, the threats, the forced marriage. The drives sealed the deal, their data verified by forensic analysts. By evening, Victor was arrested, his mugshot plastered across every news outlet. But Riley knew it wasn't over. Victor's influence lingered, his allies whispering in boardrooms and back channels. She and Mia stayed under Sarah's protection, moving between safe houses. The world's support was a shield, but it wasn't enough. Not yet. A week later, Sarah called with news. "The case is airtight, but Victor's team is pushing for a plea deal. He's offering to step down from HarperTech if charges are reduced." Riley's stomach churned. "He doesn't get to walk away." "He won't," Sarah said. "The feds want him in prison. Your testimony will make sure of it." The trial was a media circus, cameras flashing as Riley and Mia entered the courthouse. Victor sat at the defense table, his face a mask of defiance. Riley took the stand, her voice steady as she detailed his surveillance, his threats, his attempt to erase her identity. Mia followed, her words raw and powerful, a testament to their love. The jury deliberated for hours, the tension suffocating. When the verdict came, guilty on all counts, Riley exhaled, tears streaming down her face. Mia pulled her close, their hands locked tight. Victor was sentenced to 10 years, his empire dismantled, his legacy in ruins. In the aftermath, Riley and Mia stood on a Brooklyn rooftop, the city skyline glittering below. The weight of the fight lingered, but so did their triumph. "We did it," Mia whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "We did," Riley said, kissing her softly. "But I want more than just winning. I want forever." Mia's eyes sparkled. "Is that a proposal?" Riley laughed, pulling a small ring from her pocket. A simple band she'd bought with her own money, not Victor's. "Marry me, Mia. Not because of him, but because of us." Mia's smile was radiant. "Yes." The wedding was small, held in a community garden under string lights, with Lena and Ethan as witnesses. Riley wore a white blazer, Mia a flowing dress, their vows a promise of love unbroken by fear. The world watched, not through cameras, but through their shared joy. As they danced, Riley felt free, truly free, for the first time. Victor's shadow was gone, and their future was theirs. Love had won, not just in a courtroom, but in their hearts, a truth no one could take away.